The story of the root children. Once upon a time, deep within the earth where the roots of the grandest trees intertwined with the tiniest tendrils of grass, there lived the root children. These children were not like the ones you see playing in the meadows or skipping by the riverside. No, these children were special. They were the guardians of nature, the caretakers of all that bloomed and grew above the ground. Throughout the winter, the root children slept snugly in their cozy, earthen homes. The earth cradled them in warmth, and they rested peacefully, their dreams filled with the colors and scents of the flowers and leaves that they would soon bring to life. The roots of trees and plants wove around their beds, providing them with comfort and a sense of belonging. Each child had their own little room, decorated with the treasures of the underground world, smooth stones, shimmering crystals, and glowing fungi that lit up caverns like stars in the night sky. The root children loved their underground home, but they knew that their true purpose awaited them above the surface when the time was right. As the cold winds of winter began to soften and the first hints of warmth seeped into the earth, Mother Earth herself would visit the root children. She was a gentle and wise figure, her presence as comforting as the softest moss. Her gown was woven from the greenest vines, adorned with tiny flowers that only bloomed in the darkest corners of the earth. Her hair cascaded like a waterfall of golden sunlight, and her voice was like the rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze. One day, as the snow on the surface began to melt and the streams began to flow once more, Mother Earth gently awakened the root children. The time has come, she whispered, her voice carrying a melody that resonated through the soil. The world above is ready for you. It is time to bring the earth back to life. The root children stirred, their eyes fluttering open as they stretched and yawned. They were filled with excitement, for they knew that spring was on its way. Each child had a special task, a unique role in the grand tapestry of nature's renewal. Lily, the child of the lilies, was the first to wake up. She was delicate and graceful, with skin as pale as the moon and hair that flowed like silken petals. She gently brushed off the soil that had kept her warm during the winter and began to gather her tools, tiny brushes made from the finest moss, and baskets woven from the roots of old trees. Next to wake was Dandelion, the child of the dandelions. His golden hair was as bright as the sun, and his eyes sparkled with mischief and joy. He was always the first to bring laughter to the others, his light-hearted spirit infectious. He began to prepare the seeds that would soon float through the air, carried by the wind to new places where they would take root and grow. Daisy, the child of the daisies, was the next to rise. She was small and gentle, with a heart full of kindness. Her dress was made of the softest petals, and she had a crown of tiny flowers that never faded. Daisy's task was to bring brightness to the fields and meadows, her daisies spreading across the land like stars across the night sky. One by one, the root children awoke, each with their own unique gifts. There was Poppy, with her fiery red dress, who would paint the colors of summer, Bluebell, who would fill the woods with a carpet of delicate blue flowers, and Clover, who would bring good luck to those who found her three-leafed treasures. Together, the root children gathered their tools and supplies, their excitement growing with each passing moment. They knew that they were not alone in their tasks. Above ground, the animals and insects were also preparing for the change of seasons. The bees were buzzing in their hives, ready to pollinate the flowers, while the birds practiced their songs that would soon fill the air. Mother Earth watched over the root children as they prepared, her heart swelling with pride. She knew that the world above depended on these little guardians, and she had no doubt that they would fulfill their duties with love and care. As the last of the root children finished their preparations, Mother Earth led them a staircase that spiraled up from the depths of the earth to the surface. The staircase was made of ancient stones, worn smooth by the countless feet that had climbed it over the centuries. It was a long journey to the surface, but the root children were not afraid. They held hands, their hearts beating in unison as they ascended toward the light. When they finally emerged from the earth, the root children were greeted by the gentle warmth of the spring Sunday. Above was still quiet, the trees bare and the ground covered in a thin layer of frost. But the root children knew that this was only the beginning. They could feel the life stirring beneath the surface, waiting for their touch. Lily was the first to step forward. She knelt down and touched the earth with her delicate fingers, and as she did, the first shoots of green began to emerge. One by one, the lilies sprouted, their white petals unfurling like tiny flags of hope. The air was filled with their sweet fragrance, a promise of the beauty that was yet to come. Dandelion followed, his golden hair shining like he scattered his seeds across the fields. The seeds danced on the wind, carried far and wide, each one a tiny spark of life waiting to take root. Soon, the fields would be filled with bright yellow dandelions, their cheerful faces turning toward the sun. Daisy, poppy, bluebell, and clover all took their turns, each one bringing their own special touch to the earth. The meadows began to fill with flowers of every color, the woods carpeted in blue, and the fields dotted with the red and white of poppies and daisies. The world was coming alive, bursting into a symphony of color and life. The root worked tirelessly, their hearts filled with joy as they watched the world transform around them. The animals and insects joined in, the bees buzzing from flower to flower, the birds singing in the trees, and the butterflies fluttering through the air like living jewels. It was a time of celebration, a time of renewal. The root children were at the heart of it all. As spring gave way to summer, the world above flourished under the care of the root children. The fields were filled with wildflowers, the trees with lush green leaves, and the rivers with crystal clear water that sparkled in the sunlight. The animals thrived, and the air was filled with the sounds of life, buzzing, chirping, and rustling in the warm breeze. But as the days grew shorter and the air began to cool, the root children knew that their time above ground was coming to an end. The leaves on the trees began to change color, turning to shades of gold, red, and orange. The flowers that had once filled the fields began to wither, their petals falling to the ground like. It was time for the root children to return to their underground home. They had done their work, and now it was time for the earth to rest. Mother Earth gathered them together once more, her voice filled with love and pride. "You have done well, my children," she said. "The world above has flourished because of your care. But now it is time to rest, to prepare for the next cycle of life." The root children nodded, their hearts heavy but content. They had given everything they had to the world above, and now it was time to go back to the earth where they belonged. They gathered the last of their tools and supplies, carefully packing them away for the winter. One by one, the root children descended the grand staircase, leaving the world above behind. As they reached the bottom, the earth closed gently over them, wrapping them in warmth and darkness. The root children returned to their little rooms, each one settling into their beds of soft roots and moss. As they drifted off to sleep, their dreams were filled with memories of the beautiful world above, the fields of flowers, the songs of the birds, and the warmth of the sun on their faces. When the time came, they would wake again, ready to bring life to the earth once more. And so, the cycle continued. Year after year, the root children would wake in the spring to bring the world to life, and return to their underground home in the fall. They were the guardians of nature, the silent caretakers of the earth, and they carried out their duties with love and dedication. The story of the root children is a reminder of the beauty and wonder of the natural world, and the importance of caring for it with all our hearts. Just as the root children bring life to the earth each year, so too must we nurture and protect the world around us, so that it may continue to flourish for generations to come.